Good afternoon to you and welcome back to another live. It's amazing to be back here with you all. Tuesdays come so quickly and I look forward to them. I used to be so scared of this, but now I'm enjoying it more and more every week. So, how are you today? I'm feeling pretty awesome myself, if I may say so. As you might notice, I got a little makeover and I know that makes every woman feel great. So yes, here I am. Hello everybody. So today's topic is after school routines, and I'm going to share our routine and how we try to keep things simple. Keeping things simple is it's not a plus, it's a necessity actually for me, because it enables us to live a slower paced life, which is so difficult in today's day and age with all the madness going on around us. But yes, we do try to keep things simple and slow. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Nakita. I run the Mama Manual blog and social media pages, and I love to help busy mamas just like you empower themselves by helping you take control of your time so you can manage it better and you can live a life that you love so much more. And of course, don't forget to take care of yourself. That's super important. So, I can see some of you popping up over here. Can I just get a like and a hello just to make sure that you're watching? Hello everyone! Super! So I want to ask you a question about your after school routine. And first of all, I want to ask if you have one. Because I do know that some people struggle with this and they just go with the flow, which is fine if it works for you, but some people feel like they need a little more structure. So, do you have an after school routine? Can I get a yes or a no down in the comments? And also, if you do have one, are you happy with it? Would you like to improve it? Are you struggling in some area or another? Let's all chat and see how we can help each other out here. As always, you've got used to the drill. So while I give you time to let me know if you have a routine and if you follow it, or if you're struggling, if you love it, if it's working for you, I will answer the question myself. You probably know, because I know that you follow me on social media. So yes, we do have an after school routine. And I feel that we are in a really good place right now. Of course, you might know as well, my kids are far apart in age, and that does help because, for example, while my eldest is 13 and he has homework and exams coming up next week, my little one is only 4, so we're playing. So that helps balance the stress out a little bit as well. So for example, even when it comes to school meetings or for example school plays, my little one is full of activities and plays and stuff at school, and my eldest one, being 13, doesn't have so much of these activities. So as I said, the balance there is kind of perfect, so it's easier, yes. Now let me just see if we have any replies about the routines. So I can see a lot of familiar faces. Hi Sarah, hi Denise, hi Marilyn, hello. Hi Sue and Katrina, hi Roberta. And Trude says, I'm here with ears wide open as my little one still hasn't started school yet. Yes, I hope you pick up a few amazing tips, Trudy. So, yes, I have a routine. It changes, however, and that's the way it should be. I'm also going to let you know how our routine changed over the years. Of course, it was different when we had one child, and now it's different because we have two. And also depending on the time of year, depending on the activities that the kids are participating in, depending on our jobs as well and our working hours, depending on the location, because we moved as well from Aura to Mjara, and that made a difference as well. So yes, I fully agree with you. Your routine should change and adapt according to your lifestyle and of course your preference. Hi Maria, hi Dana. And Roberta says, hey, I'm all ears. Yes, Roberta, I know that you asked me to do this live and I'm excited to share. So let's continue. Just in case you've just joined us, I just want to touch on the topic a little bit, which is after school routines. And basically I'm going to touch on, go into actually quite a bit of detail about our school routine and how I try and kind of manage, yes, to keep things simple, so that we can live a slower paced life, which is always something that I try to do. If you don't know me, my name is Nakita and I run the Mama Manual blog and social media pages. I don't always mention this, but I also wrote a book. And I love helping moms empower themselves by taking control of their time so they can live a life they so love at a slower pace, and of course, remember to take care of themselves. So, shall we kick this off? All right, I'll go into our routine. So, as I just mentioned, routines are not something which should be fixed. So you should adapt to life, and your routine should adapt according to your lifestyle. And it should adapt to a lot of different things. And mainly it should be the children's ages, because of course with the younger kids you need to spend more hands-on time with them, playing with them, taking care of them. And as they grow older, then they'll start going into school and homework and extracurricular activities, and then the studying starts, and then you might have private lessons, and it just gets busier, of course. But there are ways to say no to certain things and try and keep it as simple as possible so you can balance it out. So our one changed as well and evolved quite a bit. So I'll go back 13 years ago when Yannick was born, or when he was just a baby. And at that point, I didn't even drive. So our after-school routine was much slower, because I took a long time to get home. And my mom used to help a lot as well. I was a single mom at that time. So I used to go home to my mom's, and then after a while I moved out as well when Yannick was little. And I, of course, used to focus my attention on Yannick first, and then when I used to put him to bed, I used to do all the other things which needed handling after my kid was asleep. And it's good to mention as well that both with Yannick and with Nina, we always try to stick to an early bedtime. So that's around about 7:30 for Nina. And of course Yannick is older, so he gets in at about 9:30 to 10. And we also kind of from when the kids were babies, we have what we call reading time. So it's bedtime first to go into bed, and then we have 30 minutes of reading time. And that really helps the kids get into this beautiful routine of reading books every day. So that's part of our routine as well. So then eventually when Neil and I moved in together and Yannick was about 3 years old, at this point I started driving as well. So it was a bit easier on us all. And I remember at that point I used to work till 4:30. So I used to get home at about 5:15. And at that time, Yannick used to go to catechism lessons, and I used to, of course, drive him. Reverse. No, he was 3. He hadn't started yet. I'm running. And of course, since I worked later, and at this point, I had no clue how to batch cook, how to meal plan. My time wasn't managed very well. So, of course, our to-do list dragged on for quite a long time, and there were a bit of frustrations going on. So we hadn't quite gotten ourselves super organized, which really, really helps. And then as Yannick grew older, I remember we discovered freezing first, and were overjoyed that we could not cook just for one dinner or just one lunch, but oh my goodness, we could freeze wraps for a whole week or 2 weeks, and that was absolutely life-changing. So that helped as well. And of course, then later on, when we moved to Injar and Yannick grew older as well, he needed less help with his homework, so that helped too. And he also used to walk to catechism lessons, because that's just a few minutes around the corner. And by this time around, he was about 8, so he could very easily walk himself. So as Yannick grew older, because at this point Nina wasn't born yet, of course life got a little bit easier. Then Nina came along and we got super busy once again. And at this point I was working until 3:30, which meant I was at home at 4 p.m. And our routine, of course, I had to give more attention to Nina, because when you have a baby, as you all well know, it's the baby's first, second and third, and you're carrying them around on you, you're trying to do things and you're carrying the baby. So that's what it was like it is for almost every mom, I guess, for the first few months of Nina's life. And then when Nina started getting older, and she was about 10, 11 months old, she used to get really frustrated because she couldn't walk. And we used to come home and I'd try to play with her. And she would try to hang on to the furniture, try to walk, get frustrated because she couldn't. And of course, at that point, no solo play whatsoever. So it's me sitting down on the floor playing with her all day. And I used to get a bit tense because I knew that I had things to do. And of course, I'd leave the bulk of them for after she was sleeping. But still, being at home, taking out loads of toys and activities, strewn on the floor, having no time to even clear up after us, it was just making me stressed out. So I decided to not fight it any longer. So I used to come home, change into my sports gear, put Nina onto her pushchair, and we used to go walking in the beautiful countryside that we're so lucky to have in Imjar. And that worked out brilliantly. Yes, I got home later, but my kid was so happy to be outside. I was walking with her every day. I got my exercise. I distressed. I was out in nature, getting fresh air. Got home, and this little baby used to be so tired from the fresh air. She used to sleep. So I used to come here and I used to give my attention to Yannick. I used to help him with his homework, and I used to get dinner sorted, and I used to do a bit of decluttering here and there, at which point Nina used to wake up and life was so much easier. So as you can see, our after school routine changed so much from when we just had Yannick and then Nina came onto the scene and she started growing older. And I will just start letting you know what it looks like now, or I'll go back a little bit actually, because 2 years ago when Yannick was growing up and he was about 11 years old, I felt that it was so important that I was present at home physically more and more. And yes, Nina needed me because she was just 2 years old. But more than that, Yannick was going into his teenage years. He was 11, he was a tween at that point. And I felt that if I wasn't home to greet him the second that he walked into the door, because I'll just go back a little bit and I will explain how we gave Yannick his independence as well, because I'm sure that this might interest you, who might have some moms who have their kids growing up, and of course you start thinking about these things. So my parents live very close, so they're about 3 minutes away. And Yannick used to stop with the bus near my mum's house, and he used to go to my mum's every day after school. But eventually, when he was about 10 years old, this child used to tell me, "Mom, listen, I want to go home when it's quiet and I can start my homework instead of going to Nana's every day where I don't have all my school books. And you know, I need to unpack my school bag, I need something, it's at home. And then I get frustrated and I want to be home. So Mom, can I please start going home?" So we decided to do it slowly. Now, Yannick was always very independent, but what we did is, instead of giving him the house keys, I gave the house keys to my dad. And I said, "Please, Dad, can you get Yannick start..." He used to go to school at Imjar, actually, at that point. So he didn't used to come by bus, he used to walk it. My memory is coming back now. So he used to walk it to my mum's. But then I asked my dad if he could start bringing Yannick to our house, opening up the house. He used to bring Yannick upstairs, settle him down a little bit, making sure he has a snack and he's settled. And then after about 45 minutes, 30 minutes, I'd come home. But like this, you know, I started getting the confidence that I so needed, and my child started getting used to staying home alone for a little while before Mom came home. So that was how we used to work it out when I used to work till 3:30 and Yannick was about 10 to 11 years old. And then afterwards, I'll try to remember where I was at. Okay, so then afterwards, when Yannick was growing into this little gentleman, I felt like I felt like I needed to be present in his life more and more. And I just wanted to be there so that when he walked into that door, he could focus. So he could have a shower, he could have a light meal, and then he could just have a short break and focus on his homework. Because, you know, if you have kids my age, you know how it is with teenagers. They come in and they go onto their phone if you're not there and unsupervised. It's even difficult for us to not take our phone and read messages and go on social media sometimes. So imagine what it's like for a 13-year-old or 12-year-old. So I felt that he needed my guidance. At that point, I went back to my job and I explained to my bosses that this was something that I needed. And in all honesty, I thought that they were going to say, "I'm sorry, we can't do this. And, you know, I'm afraid they have to find another job." But I was so lucky because they accepted that I could go into work at an earlier time and work more or less the same hours and leave work at 1:30. So life got better at this point because I was home at around 2:15. I used to pick up Nina from nursery at that point, so it was more like 2:30 when I came here. And I used to arrive round about the same time or just a little bit before Yannick came home. So I could settle the kids down nicely, and that was a huge help. So this helped to simplify our lifestyle. It was a fantastic decision to take, and I'm so glad I just thought what was stressing me out, what needed to be done. I took a decision together with Neil, and we decided to take this forward, and it was the best decision ever. Now, fast forward today, of course. Today, I'm extremely glad to be running my own business, which is not all sunshine and rainbows, of course. It's hard at times because I have a pretty tough boss to answer to. I make sure to put in the hours that I need to without putting in any extra hours because I'm very careful that I live a balanced life, and I want to leave time which is just for my family and for myself without having work overlap and sneak and steal away these precious hours. So let me start going into our after school routine as it is right now. But before I do so, I'm just going to say hello and see who's watching with us. And I can see Davinia and Sephora, Lavinia and Jessica. And Jessica says, "Hi dear, we have a routine. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, sometimes it changes. My daughters are still young and with 1 year apart, 3 years old and a 4-year-old. However, we manage to do everything together and always trying to make it fun. Even shopping, I do it with them." Jessica, that is amazing. It's the way it should be. And kudos to you, Mama, for making it work. And we have Ariane that says, "Freeze wraps, they won't get wet then." So let me share my secret, which is one of the secrets that I share in my book, but I'm going to say it. So wraps. When you freeze wraps, the secret is that you shouldn't freeze them in foil, or you shouldn't freeze them in some other material which is non-breathable. So I use parchment paper. And like that, when you use parchment paper, the food, the wraps in this case, can breathe. I'm not sure if this is the correct terminology, but I hope you can understand me. And therefore you won't have any condensation, and then the wraps won't get wet. So then when you let them defrost in the fridge, of course, safely. And when you try to heat them up, what you should do is you should leave them on the parchment paper, you should put them in the flat toaster, and you can heat them up nicely without any messes whatsoever. So that's my tip for wraps. So hi Sarah, hi Daniela, hello Elizabeth. And Anne-Marie says, "We have 3 little ones and we have a routine, but it changes depending on if they have any activities or I have any errands." Yes, it changes for us as well according to the day and what we have on, of course. And hello to Ingrid. Okay. So, first I'm going to start with our standard after school routine. When I say standard, I mean it's the routine that we follow when we don't have any after school outings, we're not going anywhere, and when the kids have no extracurricular activities. So the first thing we do when we get inside the door is unpack, and I tell the kids to take off their school uniforms and wash their hands. Nina knows that mommy needs 10 minutes to unpack the bags and just sort everything out very quickly. So usually she's very happy to say hello to her toys and her books and go into her bedroom while you know how we are. We have our handbag, the school bag, maybe a shopping bag, and all these things which we carry with us. And I like to just get those out of the way and open up Nina's school bag to see if there are any forms which need attending to. Actually, if I'm being super honest, Nina loves to open up her school bag with me. So after I sort out all the other bags, Nina comes and we open up her school bag, and she likes to open her lunch boxes and make a nice scene out of showing me that she's eaten all of her lunch, usually. That's most of the time. And she likes to open up her folder, bring out any notes, and just share stories about her day while she shows me what's inside her school bag. So that's very sweet. And then after we unpack our bags, it's snack time. So what I like to do is, conveniently, this is something that I planned as well. We have a breakfast bar in our kitchen. So what I like to do is I like to sit the kids down on one side of the breakfast bar while I stay on the other side, and we chat about our day together, and I also prepare snacks for them. And while we're preparing snacks, we also prepare lunches, and we do it together as well. And getting the kids involved ensures that they are involved in the actual preparation of their lunches, which means that there's more chance that they will eat it because it's something that they made themselves or that they chose themselves. So this is very handy because it's quality time and we're preparing snacks and they're eating and we're chatting and we're preparing lunches, and maybe I get some bits and pieces for dinner started up if I need to prepare anything, and I'm popping plates into the dishwasher. So I love this 30 minutes of time that we have together after school. Right after that, Yannick starts his homework, or is supposed to, but that's another topic altogether. But he goes into his bedroom. Teenagers. Do we have any moms of teenagers here? Say yes in the comments if we do. I'd love to say hello. So, and then it's playtime with Nina. So then I sit down on the floor usually with Nina, and we do some crafts or we do some drawing because Nina loves to draw. Sometimes we do some yoga or we watch some exercise videos and get some exercise in as well for the both of us. And we have lots of fun that way. Or we play dolls or with Nina's Barbies or imaginary play. And I just make sure that I give her her time where it's just about me and her playing together. And it's fun. It's fun and she loves it. And giving her that at least 30 minutes of undivided attention where I just play with her and enjoy that special time that we have together really helps, because then it's time for solo play. Once I give Nina my undivided attention for a good amount of time, she's happy to play on her own for a little bit. So this is the time that I prepare for dinner. So I set the table and I have a look at what I have for the day. So it's usually defrosting in my fridge because, as you know, I love to batch cook. I don't cook every day. Or else I've got something really simple which I need to put together. Or else I have most of the dinner in the fridge and I need to whip up a quick salad or a quick side dish. And while Nina's playing and I'm watching her, and our house is very small as well, so this is absolutely perfect because her bedroom is all but a few meters away from the kitchen, and she likes to play as well in the living area. And while she's having fun, I'm preparing dinner. So next, dinner time is at 5:30. Yes, it's an early one. What time do you all have dinner? Can you just leave a comment and we'll come back to it, and we'll talk about an early dinner time as well rather quickly. So what we do is, my husband also likes to go to work super early so he can be home most of the time. It's impossible to be home every day at 5:30, but he's here most of the time at 5:30 for dinner. And if not, we still have dinner without him because Nina sleeps early. She's very tired if we don't start her routine by 7 p.m. So anyway, we need to have dinner, so it gets started without him, and then I just sit with my husband afterwards while he eats and we still get our quality time together. And so 5:30 is dinner time. So this time is a very busy time of day. I'm trying to get the food on the table. I get the kids to wash their hands. My husband is home. I heat food up and put it on the table. Fingers crossed that everybody likes it, but usually it's quite successful. And let's just see what time everyone has dinner. Okay, so my kids are 16 and 3. Okay, I could learn from you. I'm sure you could share a lot of tips with me, Ariane. I hope I'm saying your name well. Please point it out if I am not, because I hate it. Both need different attention. Yeah, she's still reading my book. The eldest is obviously more independent, but needs driving around. The younger one is mostly with me, but I get her involved and encourage her to play alone. Normal Ray routine would be put lunch bag stuff for washing, get Alessia to wash, and she spends some time playing in the bath. I use this time to fold remaining clean clothes from the weekend. Once ready, I'll give her some snacks and I prepare food and lunches. I do this alone, or she'll eat most of what I prepare. I love that. Sounds like Nina, which is why I prepare snacks and lunches in tandem. So then she can play mostly. Although I am cooking, I still join in her playing until my husband comes home and he takes over with the playing. And 7 p.m. is the bedtime that Ariana usually aims for. And Mandy says 5:30 to 6 p.m. Another very early dinner lady over here. Marilyn says 6 to 6:30. Okay, thank you, Ariana. I love that I'm saying your name well. I don't like it when I mispronounce names. Sometimes my name gets mispronounced like you wouldn't believe it. From Nakita, it goes to Makita, and I'm a toolbox all of a sudden, or a tool brand, whatever, to Nikita, to, oh my goodness. So, and Mum Life with A&L says, we also eat at 5:30, kids go to bed early too. I think it's so important for them. Yes, I fully agree. And Bernadette says 6 for the kids usually, but sometimes me and my husband later as he comes home from work after 7. Yeah, you kind of try and balance it out like we do. Okay, so after dinner, it's daddy and daughter time. So Neil takes over and he does bath time with Nina, at which point I clear dinner from the table, and then I clean the kitchen and I make sure that everything is looking spick and span after dinner time. And of course, even after playtime, which is usually a bit messy. Now, Nina does a lot of clearing up herself. We've been very wise with her toy storage because she has individual little drawers for the, okay, the famous tongue twister, for specific toys. And Nina's very good at putting toys back to where they belong. So I don't really find too much of a mess usually. But of course, you know, there's the messes from the snacks and there's the messes from the Play-Doh and the painting that we do. So while Nina's in the bath with Daddy, I make sure I get everywhere cleaned up. And of course, our house is very small, as I mentioned, so it doesn't take very long to clean up the messes. And then after bath time, Nina's playing with Daddy and I continue finishing up with the cleaning and with the little bits and pieces that you need to do every day, and like filling out forms or decluttering and clearing up things and just getting the house organized, helping Yannick with any homework that he needs attention, that he needs help with, or any attention that he needs. And then Nina likes to have another snack before going to bed because she gets hungry again. So this is when she gets a bit of screen time. She loves watching the tablet before she goes to bed, and she likes to eat a few snacks. And I'm in the kitchen again. The kitchen is part kind of the dining area, so she's at the breakfast bar, so I'm talking with her and she's watching her tablet, she's eating, my husband is next to us, you know, we're getting things settled down for the evening. And then at that point, at about 7, it's bedtime. So when my husband is home on time, he takes over bedtime. So Nina goes to get her hands washed and her teeth brushed, and she goes into bed and she gets her 30 minutes of reading time first. So Neil reads her stories and I love hearing her laugh, and I love hearing her reading stories to Neil as well, while I am in the kitchen and in the living area preparing all the things that need attention. And after Neil tells her reads his stories, and Nina sometimes reads her own, she pretends to read because she would love to be able to read, I'm called in for a little bedtime story, at which point I go and I just tell her a little story from my imagination, and I tell Nina to close her eyes and keep imagining the sweet story that I was telling her. Usually it's a story about unicorns and rainbows and stars and fairies, and then we both kiss her goodnight and she's off to sleep. Then, of course, I go back to my kitchen, and if need be, I finish lunches if they haven't been fully prepared, and I do some meal prepping and some snack prepping, and I check that I've got dinner prepared for the next day, or if I'm batch cooking, I batch cook. I use very simple recipes, so it doesn't take very long, and usually in about 30 to 45 minutes, I've got at least 4 meals sorted, so that's something that I do in the evening. And then, of course, I see if there are any house chores which need attention, and I declutter the house, and then by 9:30, which is the absolute latest that I will go on doing these things, because then, of course, I need my downtime as well. And at this time, which is my son's reading time, What I love to do is I love to stop and I go into my son's bedroom and we chat for a little while, get our bonding time in, and I leave him to read until about 10 p.m. I jump into the shower in the meantime, and then it's my son's bedtime, so I go and tell him good night, and it's us time for me and Neil, or me time. Of course, on some days I go to yoga classes some evenings, Neil does gym some evenings, sometimes we have our separate like me time, so Neil is watching a series, I dive into my books, which I so fondly adore. And other days we watch a movie, actually series together. I'm not really into movies, funnily enough. Or we just chat on the sofa, you know, hang out together or sit outside in the terrace with a glass of wine. And then I try to be in bed by 10:30 usually, or 11 max. And sometimes, of course, being someone who runs her own business, sometimes, of course, I need to work evenings as well. So if I'm not working in the morning for some reason or other, because I'm attending to the kids, or I have something at the kids' school, or I'm lucky enough to be able to be flexible and I want to do something else in the morning, I can make up for it in the evening. So yes, sometimes I do work in the evening, but I don't make a habit of it every day. And also, I don't overdo it. So 11 p.m. is the absolute maximum because, of course, I need my rest, as we all do. So it's a little reminder to all you lovely ladies who are watching to remember to get your rest. I read before I sleep, so I'm reading a book, and if it's too good, this is where I struggle with going to sleep, but usually I doze off after about 20 to 30 minutes, which is absolutely fine. I'll go back and have a little pause here. I'll see who's watching. Little break. Hi Rita. Rita says, thanks for your great ideas, and you're so welcome. Hi Grace. Hi Alicia, who says bedtime is at dinner time. Actually, I didn't ask about bedtime, I'm so sorry. So dinner time is 7:30. I'm not quite sure. I don't think you're so happy with that, Alicia. I get the feeling you'd like it to be earlier. And Fleur says that dinner time is at 6:30 or at 7. And Fleur has a 5-year-old and a 5-month-old baby. Wow. Well, it must be hard to have a 5-year-old and a 5-year-old and a 5-month-old baby. And kudos to you for managing to do all that, because I know what it's like, and most of us know what it's like to have a 5-month-old. It's hard until they grow, but that time is so precious because you look back and you're thankful that you spent all those precious hours holding your little ones in your arms. So good luck to you, Mama. And lots of familiar faces I see here. And Tony says, we have a very similar routine with the kids, except that we bathe them before dinner. Then they play with Daddy after dinner. When I manage to quickly tidy the kitchen, I go to the gym. Amazing. Yes, that's what we should all be doing. I try. I do my yoga once or twice a week and I get my exercise with Nina. Oh, and sometimes I go for walks as well. I used to do that every Monday, but sometimes I'm replacing it with a yoga class when I can. And Alicia says, yep, I need to update that. Well, you can always try some of my tips. I hope you find them useful, and hopefully you can start to move it backwards bit by bit, even if it's 15 minutes at first. 15 minutes is a win. 15 minutes earlier dinner time is absolutely fantastic. So try it that way. So let's go back to our routine, and now I'm going to dive into different routines that we use for different days, because as you all know, you cannot stick to one routine. It depends on what you have planned for the day. So on Tuesdays, which is today, what happens is the kids have swimming lessons, so we managed to find a day where the kids both have a swimming lesson together, and this is something that I do recommend for moms of 2 kids or more. If you can, find a way to combine your kids' activities at the same place, at the same time, somehow, so you're not in and out of the house on all of the days. If you can kind of patch them and have them on the same day, that would be a huge help. So we managed to find swimming lessons for both the kids. They're about 30 minutes apart, and Neil very kindly offered to pick up the kids and take them to their lesson, while I could be here with you all doing my weekly live. So of course, the routine is different on Tuesdays because Neil picks up the kids at about 4 p.m. and he goes to swimming lessons. And of course, I don't get a lot of stuff done in the afternoon, and what I do is I do more things in the evening, but on Tuesdays I make sure that I have a really simple dinner planned, so I don't need to do any prep work, and also I don't cook that evening, so I keep the evening slower as well. So on a Wednesday, usually it's something right out of the freezer, which I just need to heat and maybe boil some rice or steam some veg or something very simple to go along with it. So I try to really keep things simple and not overcomplicate matters, because if I wanted to, I could start cooking for the next day on Tuesday evening, but I can avoid it. So this is what I try to do. Being intentional is really important. When you really think about the plans that you have for the day and the plans that you have for the next day and the next, you can start to make decisions which will enable you to go slow. So of course there's other days where we have errands. For example, on Thursdays, Neil goes to the supermarket, and this is another decision that we made to live a slower life. When we had one kid, we used to kind of make a date of it and we used to go to the supermarket together. But when Nina came onto the scene, we realized how stressful it was going to the supermarket with two kids. One of them was extremely bored, wouldn't sit in the trolley cart, and we're trying to rush through the supermarket, make sure we don't forget everything, super stressed, extremely tired, coming home with a frustrated baby, a frustrated mom and dad, a bored out of his wits son, which is when we decided that errands we could do when we're apart, when we could do them apart. So I'm at home, I'm playing with Nina, I'm giving her her bath, I'm taking over the stuff at home, I'm with Yannick, and Neil is at the supermarket. It's so much faster, so much quicker. Of course, the routine has changed slightly, but still we manage, and we do manage quite well as well. So you've heard quite a bit about my routine. And routines are very personal. So I can completely understand that there are people who no way can have dinner at 5:30, who no way can be home as early, who cannot be as flexible maybe, who work night shifts. There are children with different activities, different kinds of needs. So what I say today is definitely not set in stone. I'm just sharing in the hope that you might pick up some tips and maybe adjust your schedule a little bit. So hopefully you can have a bit of a lower lifestyle, which helps so much. Of course, the kids' ages makes a huge difference to the after-school routine that you follow. Nina has no homework at the moment. I think we're at the best. My kids are at the best ages right now because Nina has no homework. We're playing, it's free play, you know, and Yannick doesn't need that constant hand holding, so he doesn't need me to sit down with him to do homework. He doesn't need me to take him to catechism lessons. He's just started to catch the bus as well here and there, although of course we do drive him ourselves to his extracurricular activities, but he's pretty much independent now. So of course, if you have kids who you're sitting down with after work to do homework with, yes, of course, your routine is completely different from mine, and I can understand that. And I've been there with Yannick. Of course, he used to spend, it was quite slow for him because he used to get very bored. He never used to like sitting down for long spans of time. So we used to spend 1 or 2 hours just sitting down and trying to get Yannick to do his homework. So what you can do if you're at that stage right now, simplify everything else as much as possible. So opt for simple recipes. If you have a slow cooker, opt for the simplest recipes you can find. If you have a large one, you can batch cook. You can also batch cook if you don't have a slow cooker, and you can freeze. Find easy ways to make your cleaning life easier. If you can afford to get some help with the cleaning, do so. You can get a robot to do your daily sweeping and your daily mopping. And as much as possible, declutter your house, live as simply as you can, have less clothes, have less belongings. It takes much less time to keep your house clear when everything is organized and when you own less. So those are the tips that I have for you. And this live comes to an end right here. And before you go, just two things. So first of all, just three. If you have my book, I just went through it quickly because I realized that on page 41, I have a list of my daily to-dos. They're listed over here. And I'm going to share one of the tips that I have, one of my efficiency tips, because this is golden. And it's a good idea to just share a bit of info from the book. Maybe some of you might have not bought it yet, and you can see what kind of tips you can actually learn from the book. So listen to my efficiency tip. Start from the things low on your priority list first. The later it gets, the more tired you become, and the more likely you are to shrug off something or other as your energy levels start dwindling. Leaving the most important items till the end is an easy hack you can use to make sure everything gets done. This is something which works really well for me. So for example, let's say that I like laying out my outfits for the week, for example, or I like just choosing them and sectioning them in one part of my wardrobe. And if I leave this for last, of course, it's not important compared to all the other things that need to be done. So I like to do it earlier on in the day. So leaving the most important things for last ensures that I get them done because, for example, I cannot go without preparing my kids' uniforms because they need to be prepared. So I leave that for a later stage. So this works out really well. I suggest you try it and see if it works out for you. So that's number one. So the second thing, next week, I won't be doing a live session. And hold on before you get super disappointed. I'm sure you will appreciate this fully. So on Friday, it's Niels and I's 6th wedding anniversary. And we always celebrate. And we try to go to Gozo every year. And we're doing that as well this year. And we're so lucky to have the most supportive family. And my parents and my in-laws will be helping us with the kids so we can go and get some well-deserved honeymoon time together. So we'll be in Gozo, just the two of us. And of course, when we come back on Sunday, I'll be very busy trying to sort out stuff for the home, like the laundry and the cooking and the house and getting back into the routine. And of course, I know I'll manage. But that time, I usually leave for this live when Neil and the kids are out of the house. I so need to get all our chores sorted because if I know that I have 2 hours on the Tuesday where I can get all my stuff sorted for the house, I can then be super present with the family for the rest of the week. So I know I won't be stressed out. I know I've got 2 hours to get these things sorted and then I can be with my kids for the rest of the week because after not being with them for a couple of days, I really want to be present and fully present, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally for the rest of the week. So that is why I won't be here on Tuesday. I'm sure you understand. First and foremost, I love being here, but first and foremost, it's my family, my kids and myself. And you know, I love to keep it real and that's the reality of life, but I'll be happy to be back the week after. So mark your calendars for not Tuesday coming, but Tuesday after. And I will be back with another live for you all. And the last thing before I go, if there's any topic that you would love me to talk about on my live, please give me some feedback. I'd love to know if you've been watching these lives for a long time now, or you've just started recently, maybe which one of your lives was your favorite one, what you'd like to see more of, and maybe something which you'd like me to improve. I love getting feedback from you because, of course, that's the only way I can learn. Thank you. Thank you for being here with me till the very end. It was so much fun. I'll surely miss you on Tuesday, but of course, we'll keep in touch on social media. Take care, have a lovely afternoon, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye!